Well, it has been a cloudy and gusty Wednesday across central Oregon. We've had even more mountain snow, some showers in our lower elevations, and those wind gusts are picking up at times to 40 plus miles per hour. So we're about to do a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. Hey everyone, I am Darrell Winninger from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center. Let's start off with what we see across the high desert, and that is, well, not much over the Cascades through the passes either. We do have some of those cameras at pass level that are showing dry roads, others showing some snow on the road. Meanwhile, when we look at each one of these cameras from the Prineville Airport to Sisters Airport and even Lake Billy Chinook, a lot of cloud cover, periods of clearing out there, and ultimately we are in this unsettled weather pattern because of an atmospheric river. So even when we look at winter storm impact through the passes, some minor impacts limited for Diamond Lake Junction and Willamette Pass. Getting up to Government Camp, though, we have moderate to major impacts because of the snow that's falling. So we're not quite done just yet. In fact, we stay in this unsettled weather pattern all the way through the rest of this work week. By the weekend, another shift, a change up with our next warming trend. So as of right now, just a lot of cloud cover and dry roads. Even some of those roads are, you can see some shadows on the ground indicative of in and out cloud cover. And at the moment, we have wet roads for Sandy and Pass, Government Camp, Century Drive, Willamette Pass, just dry road conditions out there, and those temperatures are still near and a little above freezing. Once they fall back down to freezing, we're looking at more snow on the roads. Now, going forward through the next couple of days, we've already seen that shift, that rise in snow levels, bringing us to wintry mix through the Cascades. And tonight, maybe some snow through the passes, but most of it's going to be rain and mix by Thursday a.m. Some snow showers at the highest elevations. The rest of us looking at gusty conditions with scattered rain showers, maybe some mix. And this pattern stays with us until we get to Friday. Friday, some clearing. Friday night, more showers working their way through the high desert. And then by Saturday, that's when we really start to clear out. So just looking back in the last 24 hours or so, 3 to 17 inches of snow in the mountains. Notice most of that snow is centered around Hood, and that's because in Government Camp. And that's because this system is mostly impacting northern Oregon, and it's coming down to Sandy Ann Pass. We've had 6 inches in the last 24 hours, bringing us up to more than 2 feet at Hoodoo. But we're still not done. However, we're pretty much done with the snow in the Cascades of Bachelor and Hoodoo. We're actually looking at that transition to some wintry mix, some snow showers, but also some rain showers. And that could actually bring some melting at the highest elevations, especially as temperatures are going to be chilly, but above freezing, and add in the strong winds. That could be impacting snow conditions for skiers as well. And when it comes to weather alerts, we don't have too much actually happening. There was a winter weather advisory for the east slopes of the Cascades until 5 p.m., but that has since expired. Outside of that, there's a high wind warning to our north, and it looks like an aerial flood watch for the other side of the Cascades, but nothing happening for central Oregon. And we are still going to get some mountain snow, but most of it either at or above pass level. So just when we look at some of these totals, most of central Oregon getting some rain. Meanwhile, getting down to where Bachelor is, that's where we might be getting up to 4 inches. Sandy Ann Pass, 1 to 3 inches. Government Camp, 12 to 18 inches, 18 plus inches for a couple of miles of Highway 26. So ultimately, this is going to be for the Cascades of Washington and northern Oregon, where we're seeing some of this snow that's going to be accumulating. So we're not quite done with it yet. And when it comes to future road conditions, by 7 a.m. tomorrow, some patchy ice through Sandy Ann Pass, as well as some slick roads for Government Camp. Some snow on the road, but also the potential for patchy ice. Meanwhile, getting down to Willamette Pass and Diamond Lake Junction, we're looking at some damp roads. That's about it. And then going forward through the day tomorrow, we're actually looking at more showers, just not too much in the way of snow, not even in the highest elevations. And temperatures are coming well above freezing. In fact, tonight, we don't even get down to freezing for most of the high desert. Yes, some 30s are expected, but most of those temperatures are going to be above freezing. Satellite and radar shows that mostly when we're looking at precipitation through the Cascades, most of it is rain. There's a little bit of snow, and you could actually tell where the different mountains are, because there's Jefferson, there's 3 Three-Finger Jack. Washington looks like it has some snow. The Three Sisters has some snow. But outside of the highest elevations, it's mostly just rain. And winds have just been gusty. We'll get to that in a minute. Going from going to infrared satellite imagery from a blend of infrared and visible, we can see that the bulk of those taller clouds are mostly through Washington, where they even have a couple of lightning strikes. Meanwhile, in Oregon, we've been seeing some periods of clearing. Now, there are some clouds, there are some showers. We're just staying in this unsettled weather pattern, and a lot of water vapor imagery shows a lot of moisture over the region. And when we look at the bigger picture, this plume of moisture is coming up around a ridge of high pressure from about Hawaii. So it definitely is an atmospheric river, maybe even could be considered a pineapple express. However, most of it's just pouring right into Washington, kind of just leaving us with the remnants of it, the leftovers, and that's mostly just rain showers as of right now. Relative humidity, not too bad at all. Moderate to dry for some, but high temperatures today. Look at this. Already a big shift in the weather pattern because temperatures weren't in the 40s today for highs. We got into the 50s with 61 in Warm Springs. Currently, it's 50s with some 40s and 60 in Warm Springs, but that actually puts us between 8 and 15 degrees warmer than we were 24 hours ago. Now, for tonight, we fall back into the 40s and 30s. By tomorrow, topping out in the 50s. So temperatures just aren't going very far through the next 24 hours, but we are looking at the mountain snow in Washington, a whole lot of mountain snow in Washington, a little bit in central Oregon Cascades, and some showers are still expected. So with this, we're seasonal with those temperatures. Now, by Friday night, a weak cold front pushes through. That brings a dip in temperatures, and then we start our next warming trend. This is going to be a big warming trend. We don't even spend much time in the 60s on Sunday, and then we're in the 70s by Monday. So let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit closer. Let's go ahead and look at what we can expect, because this forecast model shows a lot happening, and most of the activity is happening right over the Pacific Northwest. So we have wave after wave of moisture, several different fronts, but that stationary front stays along and just north of central Oregon, meaning that most of the snow in the mountains as well to our north until that cold front pushes through Saturday. That's going to help clear the air as well, and through the rest of the weekend we begin that warming trend. So between now and 11 p.m. Friday, rain, a little bit of snow, some in the mountains. Most of the mountain snow is going to be around Hood and Mount Jefferson, not too much through the passes. And so when we look at the forecast model, it shows mostly rain between now and Friday morning, really all the way through this weekend. We're just not looking at too much in the way of snow until we get to the much further to the north. And so that was two different forecast models, one showing a little bit more in the way of snow totals, both showing that most of the snow is going to be around Hood and over Washington. But look at this, our wind gusts are between 19 and, look at sisters, 64 mile per hour wind gusts. Actual wind speeds are between 20 and 30 miles per hour for many of us across the high desert. So it is just windy. It has been gusty, and these gusty conditions continue through tonight and Thursday. By Thursday night, it's still going to be breezy, and those breezy winds continue through Friday. In fact, it's really not going to be until later in the late week and going into the weekend that we start to see much calmer winds. It's breezy through Friday. Saturday brings the big shift in our weather pattern in more than one way. So tonight, 40s and 30s. By tomorrow, we're talking 50s, a few 40s, and some 60s possible. Still looking at those off and on showers. Still breezy through Friday, a little bit breezy on Saturday, but notice Saturday's the big shift in our weather pattern. That cold front pushes through Friday night, and then Saturday we get our dip in temperature. Sunday we start warming, then we keep warming. Then we are well into the 70s and well above that average high of 54 degrees. In fact, we're 20 plus degrees warmer than average. Going to be flirting with record highs by next week. And so ultimately, and that's just in time for St. Patty's Day. So ultimately, when it comes to our forecast, we're actually looking at more showers and gusty winds through the end of the work week and seasonal. A dip in temperatures is expected for Saturday, but then the springtime warm up begins and just continues well into next week and well into the 70s. That is the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.